praise, all the glory, all the honor, all the love unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also, want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. All right. Let's see. I'm going to go start out through the Spirit, Genesis, the 3rd chapter. And let's see. It says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh had, the Most High had made. And he said unto the woman, Yeah, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden." All right, so when we go into this word serpent, or actually, I'm not saying the word, but the serpent is considered, while it tells you right there that it's a beast, right? Was more subtle than any beast of the field. All right, so I want to grab you something. Because the reason I chose this chapter, I came across this Jehovah Wickedness today. Jehovah Witness. Jake, he was involved in Jehovah's Wickedness. And he was bringing up this chapter. So I haven't even looked at it tonight. This is the first time looking at it since he brought it up. But the point I want to make real quick is Ecclesiastes 3:18. It says, "I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that the Most High might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts." So we established right here in Ecclesiastes 3:18 that the men are beasts, okay? Let's see that themselves are beasts, right? So this is a metaphor. This serpent in Genesis 3, he's more subtle than any beast of the field. Because why? He's a beast, which he's a man. The serpent that it's talking about is Esau, Edom, all right? The wicked of the Bible, right? The devil tells you in another verse in Revelation, that old serpent, right? Let's get that real quick in Revelation 12:9. This is talking about Esau, Edom, the dragon, which another word for dragon is serpent. It says, Revelation 12:9, "And the great dragon was cast out," and that old serpent, and it's called that old serpent, is referring to the serpent we're reading about in Genesis, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. All right? And what are his angels? Right? His angels are what we're reading about here are his military, his jets. He's called some of these jets, they're called angels. Like they have a group called the Blue Angels. They're talking about jets because it's going to be war in heaven, right? Let's get Revelation 12:7. Look it. "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their face found any more in heaven." And heaven is rulership. So what we're reading about the war in heaven is going to be what you call the UFOs, the chariots. Because Yahweh Shai is coming back with Michael, the archangel, which that means chief angel. That word archangel means chief. So the archangel, he's going to fight with Yahweh Shai and the angels, the righteous angels, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's angels, which is the Lord of hosts, his army, which are the chariots. They're going to fight Esau, Edom, and the other nations that join together with Esau, Edom, because they're going to have what they call an alien invasion, which is going to be the chariots of Israel, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's army, led by Yahweh Shai and Michael on the chariots, and there's going to be war in heaven, like we read. And this is Daniel 12:1. "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. So this is what's happening. The chariots are going to happen. The war in heaven. What you call the UFOs. All right? Go back to Genesis 3. But that old serpent is dealing with the so-called white man, the wicked. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. I just read in Ecclesiastes 3:18 that the beasts were men. All right? It says, not eat of any tree of the garden. Well, guess what? The trees are also a metaphor for men. All right? Let's get this precept in Mark about the trees. Because you got to understand, it's not talking about a snake and a tree. It's talking about men. All right? Mark 8:24. And it says, and he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. All right? So these are metaphors and parables. It's not an actual tree it's talking about. The trees are men. The beasts are men. That's the first thing I want to establish and show you in verse 1 right here. So now we have the understanding that trees are men and a serpent is a man. And it's a specific man. It's the so-called white man, the wicked of the earth. All right? Verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High had said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. So the serpent, remember, he was subtle, crafty, right? That's the so-called white man. He's crafty and he's subtle. He ain't going to come out and tell you he's the devil, he's the serpent. But instead, he's going to trick, and he goes after the woman because she's the weaker of the vessels. She's the weaker vessel. Right? That's why he didn't go after Adam. He went after Eve, right? Let me get that precept. It's in Peter. 1 Peter 3:7. It says, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them, talking about your wives, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife, as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. So the point is the woman, the wife, is the weaker vessel. This is why in Genesis 3 and 4, the serpent, which is the Edomite, so-called white man, he goes after the weaker vessel, which is the woman, Eve, right? And he said, ye shall not surely die. Verse 5, for the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So Eve knew Adam was a god. But now all of a sudden she wants to be on the same level. She wants to be a goddess. She wants to be on that same level. Just like the women in America, right? They want women's rights, women equality. It's the same thing. The so-called white man has given all of these women that mindset that they're equal to a man, that they don't need a man. You know, they got guys like Neo singing about Miss Independent. And what is it going back to? It goes back to what we're reading here. The wicked, meaning the so-called white man, the serpent, coming at our women, telling them that they are equal to the man, which that's not true. We just read they're the weaker vessel. All right? And there's order with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. The so-called white man does not respect the order. So that's why he has feminism in his society. which feminism is a bunch of BS, because it shows the women, it teaches women that they're equal to men, and it teaches women, that's why you have all these masculine fucking bitches out here thinking they can throw hands with a man, and all kind of madness. It goes back to what we're reading. Verse 6, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. All right? So, this is where the Israelites, this is where mankind started to fuck up. Because why? The serpent was in there in Eve's ear telling her, hey, you could be like a god, because she knew Adam was a god. Eve knew Adam was a god. She wanted to be on his level. It's the same thing now. These women, they want to be treated, respected, admired like men. They want the attention. They're the weaker vessel. They're not fit for this type of role. Okay? Verse 7, and the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. So the nakedness goes into shame. All right? Because now they knew they were doing wrong. Both of them. And women are powerful because they influence men. That's what Eve did. That's what the serpent, he knew. He knew that he could influence the man, but he had to get at the woman first. So this is what they still do to this day. All right? The so-called white man, he'll go after your woman. I'll give you a prime example. He'll go after your woman in the hospital. One of the brothers in the camp, Kal, he had his wife, and they were having a baby. Went to the hospital to go, have their baby. And you had the doctors and the nurses pursuing his wife, which is the weaker vessel, telling her, hey, you need to have a C-section. You need to have a cesarean. You need to do this. You need to do that. The brother Kal stuck to his guns. He said, no, she don't need to have no C-section. She don't need no cesarean. She's going to have this baby natural. So what do? They go to the woman. Oh, well, they separated rooms and talked to the woman. This is the craftiness and the wickedness of the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. They separated them in the rooms, went at the wife, said, hey, you could die or the baby could die if you don't do this C-section. Your husband's putting you at risk. So what did she do?